Hello friends, welcome once again. So I think that previously I have told about the basics of accounting and I have discussed with you two important concepts, that is what is business as well as what is transaction. So I would like to request you, please go through that video and after that you can able to understand the remaining terms. So let's see what is the next term. Here you can see that it is written goods and services. So what is goods and services? It's like an ornament of a business. So for that you have to understand very carefully that what is goods and services. Now let's see. Here it is written that goods is tangible in nature. So what is tangible? First, you need to understand this. Tangible itself describes its meaning. That can be touched. Tangible means the things which you can touch, which you can see through your eyes. So, चश्मे की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप जो देख सकते हैं, जो आप छू सकते हैं, वही होता है tangible. Okay. Now, goods, you can see it, you can touch it, that's why it is becoming tangible. And what is services? Obviously, tangible के आगे आपको in लगाना पड़ेगा. So, it is basically a type of intangible in nature. Now, intangible means opposite to that of tangible. That cannot be touched, that cannot be seen. Take an example. In the morning, you want breakfast and your mother is serving that. So, in layman's sense, it is a service that is given to you where there is no involvement of money, but she is hardly providing you. Now, can you touch it? No. Can you see it? Obviously, answer is no. But you can feel it, that your mom is serving you breakfast. So, that is the meaning of intangible. So, goods is tangible in nature and services is intangible in nature. Now the next question comes, what are these? What are these uses in the business purpose? Now let's see. First one is, the goods and services can be bought and sold. What is the meaning of bought? That can be purchased. You can purchase the good from market and then you can sell it. For example, a business concern is producing pens, is selling pens. So what they can do? Either they can purchase the pen from other companies and directly sold it to consumer. So purchase and sold. Or either they can produce the pen in their own factory and sell those pens to consumer. So it can be produced in the factory and that can be sold. So one is it can be bought or purchased and sold. Another is it can be produced in the company and then sold. Now there are two types of goods. Goods can be classified in two types. What are those? First is consumer goods. So the word consumer is defining the meaning of its own. Consumer goods. The final goods that are purchased by the consumer. Whatever you are purchasing from the market, maybe it a pen, maybe it a toy, or maybe it's some art paper or some another thing, that is all consumed by you. So that is called as consumer goods. Another is capital goods. What is this capital goods? The goods that are used to produce other goods and services. So first is consumer goods, that is purchased by the consumer, and capital goods that are used to produce other goods and services. For example, you are selling the toy. Okay. Now to sell the toy, you are producing it in your own factory. So some machineries are also needed to produce the toy. So there the machineries become the capital goods. Those goods which are used to produce some other goods are called capital goods. So here I have given an example so that you can write it and you can remember it. A manufacturing company who is manufacturing machineries. Okay. Now a manufacturing company is manufacturing machinery, and the machinery is sold to direct to the consumers. Now the machineries become the consumer goods. When a manufacturing company is manufacturing machineries to sell it directly to the consumer, it is called as consumer goods. Take another example. Another manufacturing company, they are producing toys for you, for children. Now, for producing the toys, they need the help of other machineries. So they are basically producing the toys with the help of machineries. Now, toys become the consumer goods because it is finally consumed by the consumer. And the machineries, with the help of those machineries, he is producing the toys. So the machinery here becomes capital goods. So I think it's very much clear to you. Once again, goods and services, goods can be called as tangible goods, services can be called as intangible in nature. Okay. It can be either bought and sold, or it can be produced and sold. Goods can be classified into two. One is consumer goods, another is capital goods. What is consumer goods? Final goods that are purchased by the consumer, and capital goods that are used to produce other goods and services. One example was there, manufacturing company, when he is manufacturing machineries to sell it directly to the consumer, that becomes consumer goods. And a manufacturing company, when it is producing toys, and to produce those toys, they need help of the machineries. Now the toys will become the consumer goods, and the machinery will become the capital goods. Okay, now the goods and service section is completely clear to you. Let's see the next term, debtor. So, you must be familiarized with the term debtor. So, let's see what is that. For example, I am starting with a very simple layman example so that it becomes very easy for you to grasp the whole concept. Mr. X and Mr. Y, they are two friends. One day, Mr. Y said to Mr. X, please give me your pen. Okay, he has given the pen, and the pen was ₹10. Now Mr. Y said, just give me the pen, but X, I have not money to give you right now, so I will give you after 1 week. Okay, now what happened? Mr. X has given the pen for now, but Mr. Y will return ₹10 after 1 week. Here, Mr. Y is becoming debtor of Mr. X. In terms of sentence, what does it mean? The amount of money owed by customer. Here, take the example as it is business and he is customer. So Mr. X is business and Mr. Y is customer. The amount of money owed by customer to a business after delivering goods and services. Okay, so 10 rupees Mr. Y has to give to Mr. X after a certain period of time. For now, Mr. Y became the debtor of Mr. X. Okay, nothing in this, nothing tough in this. Next comes the concept of creditor. So, who is the creditor? Just take it in opposite way. Mr. X, Mr. Y, both are friends. Now, Mr. Y is giving a pen of ₹20. I have taken it 20 rupees as because so that you can remember the 10 rupees example was for debtor and 20 rupees example is for creditor. Now, Mr. Y is giving a pen of ₹20 to Mr. X. And Mr. X said the same thing, that I have not sufficient money now. I will return back this 20 rupees after 1 week. Okay. Now Mr. X said that I will return 20 rupees after 1 week to you. What happens now? Mr. Y becomes the creditor of Mr. X. I have just changed the arrow with a different color so that it becomes very easy to remember. Now from business perspective, just take it as again business and take Mr. Y as customer, or I will say that he is a third party, not customer, because he is now my creditor. Okay. So when the business owes to a party, okay, in return for goods and service, then the third party becomes the creditor of the business. So amount of money company owes to a party, okay, because company has to return, the business has to return 20 rupees after a week, right? So the amount of money company owes to a party in return for goods and services. Now Mr. Y has become the creditor of Mr. X. So I think that the concepts are very much clear to you, and it is very useful in nature, and these concepts must be clear to you as because to grasp the whole course and in a very little amount of time. So thank you so much from my side, and yes, keep updated and wait for my next video. Thank you.